The one thing that people must remember is that badgers came into this land when the ice receded, so they've been there an awful long time. They are an important part of our ecosystem. If you understand ecosystems, you know that the whole thing is integrated, and they're all equally important. Standing very near and on a long-established badger set. Badgers are very, very good at digging, as you might appreciate. They do construct quite large engineering feats. And certainly if you look around here, you can see the spoil heap here, where the soil's been dug out. And badgers dig their sets in a specific way. They actually collect the material up under their chin, under their front feet, and they move out backwards from the set and drag it out and push it over the edge. So in a typical badger set entrance, you'll see this trail, like a spoil heap trail, where they've dragged it out backwards. This set is a large set, is what we call a main set. That means that the badgers will always be occupying this set all year round. The other sets in the territory, they're classified in different ways, but basically they have what we call annex sets, which is like a part of the main set but not joined to it. So you have another set a short distance away, and there's only one main set and there's only going to be one annex set. But there may be a number of subsidiary sets. And these are smaller sets, maybe 3 or 4 hows, that are used more seasonally. They're more remote from the main set. Badgers are mustard-delay, they bear musk, and they have 2 glands that secrete a musk, an anal gland and a cordial gland. Cordial gland's beneath their tail. The cordial gland, they set scent on one another and on the surface of the ground and on different objects. And when they set scent on each other, you get this collective family smell. So that when they're out at night, you know that a smell of that animal is one of yours because you've got this collective smell. The anal gland taints their droppings, and they use that to mark territory. They would go and dig a latrine at the boundary of their territory, and they would then poo in that latrine and mark territory with it. Again, putting a smell out that says, this is our territory, you lot stay out. And the other ones come up and do the same and say, this is our lot, you stay out. And so you've got this, quite often you've got this boundary latrine from 2 social groups. This set entrance is a little bit different because it's actually using a crack in the rocks. They've actually utilised a gap where the rock has got a split in it, which is quite good. You can also see here, you've got a very strong path, and that path is going up away from here up into the woodland, up into the foraging areas. And where they go and forage, typically, is going to be short grass or meadow of some sort, more so than the woodland. The woodland's very good for them when the weather's dry, because they can get food in the woodland when it's dry, whereas they can't get it in the grassland. Their primary food item is earthworms. And when the ground is very dry and very hard or very frosty, then they're not available to the badgers. They stay down below the surface. So badgers have to use other areas to forage, and typically the woodland will provide that. One of the things that people do talk about a lot in badgers is a bovine TB problem. The problem is in the name, bovine. It is a cattle-based disease. It's a very complicated subject. It's rife with propaganda and misinformation. The disease itself is a disaster for the farming industry. You could kill every badger in the country and you still have bovine TB. And we have a testing regime that only picks up a percentage of those animals that are infected. And unfortunately, it also picks animals, cattle-wise I mean, that are not infected. So you have what we call false positives and false negatives. We use vaccine for vaccinating badgers and have been doing that since 2012 very successfully. But that actually will not solve the problem in cattle. Unless you tackle the main disease source, which is cattle-to-cattle transfer, then you aren't going to resolve the problem. If we continue culling badgers, we get to a point where there are very, very, very few left. And so whenever I start off on a training event or whatever it might be, I'm always aiming to end up with somebody that understands the situation much better, and from all points of view. But if they go away knowing a lot more, then they're going to go away caring a lot more. And if they care enough, they'll do something about trying to stop it all happening.